And a little secret is that a lot of roofers that are doing roofing, like the guys that are like actually on the roof.
So today is an exciting day. We're getting the new roof put on today. So it's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of chaos, but in the end it should be a brand new, beautiful roof. So I just wanted to kind of get a before and after picture. Here's the before picture. I'll turn this around. The guys right. And so they're just starting to do some of the tearaway. I just wanted to get a before clip. But all this tarp will be coming off. All the old metal will be coming off.
Huh? We got 4 layers.
Wow. He just said they got 4 layers of roof under the metal. So they got three layers of asphalt underneath this sheet metal. That's crazy. So all that has to come off down to the bare bones and then put the new roof back on. Well, this is the before, and then we'll come in with the after.
And they travel all over the place, kayaking.
These are the guys with Elite Roofing, if you guys like to say a few words.
Hey.
They're just getting on site, getting things started. Just wanted to get a few moments of the before.
Yep.
We can check out the after, and then we'll talk with these guys later on in the video, so stay tuned. All right, little update. We got the metal roof off, and now they're ripping off the shingles. So all the other underlayment is creating a lot of mess and a lot of work. But we're going to get it done and get a finished project, and woohoo! Guys are doing a great job. Hey, they're still working on the roof here, but I just wanted to do a short clip. This is more of an audio clip. They're working on both sides. Right now they're just, as you can hear, they're doing some hammering and they're pulling nails. And they're finishing up on getting the rest of the asphalt shingles off the roof. And cleaning up the underlayment before they start doing the sheet metal. So I think this is the bulk of the work part. And then, of course, the cleanup around the house. I think once they get to laying the sheet metal, it's going to go very fast. All right, looks like they got the cover on there. I call it the Tyvek wrap, even though it's a different company. And And then they got the sheet metal getting ready to go up. We had a brief rain, but it was very, very light and only about 5 minutes. And now the sun has broken back out. And it's nice and hot again. It's about 85 degrees with the sun out. So it looks like it's going to be a 2-day project. They're going to finish the house today, and then they'll finish the porch tomorrow. So it should be a half a day tomorrow, not even a half a day. And then they've done some of the cleanup too. They haven't done all of it, but they've done a vast majority of it. And you can see they're tied in there. They got anchor points up on the peak. They're taking some measurements because they're going to have to do some cutouts around these two pipes here. And then they'll be putting boots on those, which they did not have boots on those. The old roof didn't have them. And that was something that was written up on the inspection sheet, so that's getting fixed. Another thing that was written up on the inspection sheet when we bought it was the screws for the roof may need to be replaced because the gaskets around them start to deteriorate over time. And this roof's over 20 years old, and that's going back to the asphalt roofs before that. So it was time for a replacement. So I guess the roof damage was a blessing in disguise. We get this done and get it done right. So they took all the shingles off. They went down to the bare wood, and then they put the cross slats on there, and then brought down the Tyvek wrap. And now they're getting ready to put the metal up. They're doing a lower trim here. I don't know anything about that or how that works, but they do, and that's good. And we'll do a speed up when they start putting the metal up. Well, they're moving right along. They got it going up on both sides of the house at the same time. The other side has some special cuts they had to do around those pipes. So I came over to this side and I'm like, wow, they're putting them both up at the same time. And for those of you that know about roofing, this is 26 gauge steel going up. It's the same color. We didn't change the color. We wanted to keep the match with the barn, with the garage over there. Doing some trimming around the electrical connection, and then there's another pipe from the bathroom. So this slows you down a little bit because you got to take measurements, and then they cut it on the ground and they bring it up and they have to fit it. And he's hauling these up. He's hauling these up from down the hill down there. So they are working. But once they get past these cutouts, it'll move pretty fast. I mean, all these will go just straight up, and then they'll get screwed right in. And then they'll have to put the ridge cover there. And then there's some, I forget what they're called, but they go on this edge. The old roof did not have that, and that's why the wind got under that and lifted it. It wasn't properly put on. There's an edge that goes on here so the wind can't get under the roof. If you look at the garage over here, you'll see how it's done properly. You see how they have this fascia edge that comes down right here? It doesn't just end, it goes down, around, and wraps. So that's one piece. And so that will be on this roof. So this roof can't be ripped off by strong wind. Well, it can be, but it will take significantly stronger wind than what ripped it the first time. And it's good too that the asphalt shingles are off the roof too. While they had this ladder, I don't have a ladder this long. While it was up there, I was painting this portion of the roof that I didn't get painted earlier. I still need to finish. There's still some spots over here, but it got hot. And since they're going to be 2 days on this, I'm going to either do it first thing in the morning probably and finish that painting up. Now they're at the chimney. They probably got some special cuts around the chimney. Looks like they're taking a water break. Much needed. I don't know how they do it. Good workers. Looks like a crew of 5, and then they have a boss man that comes around and checks on them. He should be showing up pretty soon. But they're almost done here. This side's a little faster. Now this side will slow down to get around the chimney. Let's see, he's making the cuts here on the ground for the next pipe, I guess. And once I get past these pipes, this will go fast. The rest of this will go pretty fast. Okay, good morning everyone. We are on day 2 and they are not quite finished, but they will finish today. They'll probably finish this morning, I would think. I don't think it'll go past early afternoon. So what they still have left to do, both sides have all the tin up on the roof. They still got to put all the screws in. So that will take a little bit of time. They also still have to do the end caps. I call them end caps. I don't know what the actual roofing term is, but it's the edge that goes on the edge here on both sides. I can show you over here. See how they have this end cap, I call it, that goes up. So they still have to do that over here and then finish the screws. And I think they still have a little work over on the chimney side to finish up. But they have started this morning. Everything is very loud too. And we're going to go over there and take a look at what they're doing. But the porch was put on with nails. So they're having to beat it to death basically to get the nails out. But when they replace it, they'll put screws in. So he just threw something down. It looked like a snake skin. I have to go check that out. It's going to get loud, so I'll stop talking so you guys can just check it out what they're doing. I want to check out what they're doing. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Hey, look what they found. Are you in there?
That's crazy.
It's a snake skin up on the roof. Oh boy. We have yet to see any snakes here, but there's definitely evidence that there is snakes. We'll see if I can get up there. Kind of crazy loud, so it's hard to talk. But they're over there tearing it up. I was able to get some of the painting done on this roof that I didn't get to paint earlier, and I still need to paint over here. It just got really hot yesterday, and I'll probably do that this morning. And they are going to paint for me, actually, over here. They still have a little bit of work over here to do, some trim work and some roof work around the chimney here. And they had to put in some new boards, so they're going to paint those for me. And then these little spots where paint chipped off, they're going to paint those spots for me too. I guess that'll be sometime today. They're almost finished. This is day 2, and they finished the entire porch this morning in about 2 hours. They ripped the whole thing off, put the insulation in, which it didn't have insulation before, added the new roof, and the whole porch is done. Now they're going back to the main roof where they hadn't finished around the chimney yet. And then they got to put screws on this whole thing. They haven't done that yet. And then they're going to do for me as a favor, I got some paint for them, so they can touch up these boards that aren't painted that they had to put on there to finish out the chimney, because it wasn't even it wasn't done right either. So the flashing, you had to redo the flashing so it was done properly. It was done with caulk, and it was just not really good. This is the way you're supposed to do it. So they're going to fix that, and they're fixing a few things. I like the insulation on the roof. The main thing that created the damage was the wind was able to get into the spacing right here. You see the little space there between the metal and the wood? So the metal is attached to these slots using 1x4, and they screwed into the 1x4, so there's a 1-inch gap. That's like a heat dissipation barrier in between that and the insulation, that's the flat film on the roof. So the wind was able to get right into those slats. Now these will be covered up. There's an end cap that goes over these to give it a more finished look, and it also keeps the wind from being able to get in there and lift. And that's what happened. The wind got in there and lifted this metal, and then once it gets up, it goes shoo. And I had heard that there was an EF1 tornado in the area that day that happened. Some people, they didn't realize that, and it wasn't a tornado that was predicted. But they said there was a sighting of an EF1 tornado that day, that we had a wind shear from this direction that came, and that's what got on that and lifted it and peeled it back like a tin can. But it's getting fixed. Another thing the old roof didn't have done right either is on these 2 areas where these pipes come out, they're supposed to have a boot on them. What they had previously was just caulk. They just caulk it up. Well, that caulk over time starts to crack and leak because the sun gets to it and it just bakes it, and then the rain and the cold and all that, it creates a damage. There should be a boot on it, so these will be getting a boot on them as well. So not only are we getting a new roof, but we're getting an improved new roof done properly, and it should last our lifetime anyway. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and here he comes now with the boots. They were short of boots, so they had to get a boot.
¿Dónde poquito? La pequeña, la grande. El grande. The big one. Está muy grande, Juan. Juan. Okay, no. Juan, está muy grande, ¿no? Entra fácil. Es esa, la chiquita no va a quedar. Okay. Yes or no? Yes, Juan.
Well, that's what they're figuring out now, what size boot they want to use for these pipe sizes, and that'll be like the last thing they have to do to get this roof finished up.
When the roof is super steep like this,
Yeah.
and you have to cut this. So the way these boots work is you bend them around these ribs, and whenever you have to cut it to that size, because it's a pretty big pipe,
Right?
and it sits like this and you end up pulling it, it ends up getting super low on the pipe. And so that's why to use a larger boot on a steep roof like this is better, so it comes up, the collar comes up on the pipe a little bit
Yeah,
better.
so it allows a little more play and a little more room in the rubber.
Yeah.
Good deal. We're learning how to do a roof. Are we ever going to do a roof? Not me. That looks like some hot work. Hey guys, how are you doing? So we're here and we're finishing up a project, but what I have here is Elite Roofing and Restoration. I have the owner, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about how I found him.
Yeah, so my name's Adam, by the way, and I help run Elite Roofing and Restoration. We do lots of things. Roofing is our main thing, but we also do gutters, soffit, fascia, painting, the whole 9 yards. Call me and I can answer if we do something or not. But anyway, I was servicing a neighbor of his down the street, and for about, I don't know, it felt like a year, but probably like 3 months, I noticed that this house here had a tarp on it. And typically when you see a tarp on a roof, that means that a roofer, well, obviously that means that something happened to the roof. And that typically means that a roofer stopped by, because on a roof of this pitch, most homeowners are not going to tarp that themselves. So typically a roofer has stopped by, talked to the homeowner, made it some kind of relationship. So I just kind of stayed out of the way because I'm not trying to step on toes. But anyway, fast forward 3 months, I'm still seeing this tarp. And I'm seeing there's no way that this roof is not leaking, and I have a crew available to put this roof on literally tomorrow. You know, let's see if maybe I can just help the guy out. So anyway, I was over at the neighbor's house. He happened to be standing outside his garage. It's a perfect opportunity for me. So I just walked over and gave him my card and said, hey man, I just keep noticing your roof like this. If you ever need me, be glad to help. If not, you know, here's my card. And walked away. And then I don't know, it was probably a month later. He reached out and said, you know, just started asking questions and figure out, you know, how to get through this. And I would say from the day that I came over and we kind of talked about things, I think it's probably been like 2 weeks or so. And so now we are getting this roof on. The insurance company was able to pay everything for this roof, including some things that we were able to even upgrade. With the insurance's help, of course, you know, the customer always has to pay the deductible. But other than that, hopefully this roof will be completely paid for by the insurance, which is also part of what I do. Is if you ever have kind of damage like that, people always think that getting a roofer's help is a bad thing, but truly we're obviously we're doing what we do because we make money, but the more money that we make is the more stuff that you get for your roof. So if I can help your roof get if I can help you get your whole roof approved rather than maybe just a portion of it like most insurances want to do, then of course, yes, I get paid more because we're doing a bigger roof, but at the same time too, you're getting a full roof for the same exact deductible, so your deductible doesn't change. So that's what we come and help with, and it's not always guaranteed success, but that's why I try to keep it honest and transparent. So I'll climb up on the roof and I'll tell you what I think we can do, and if I don't think that, you know, it's fitting or that it's, you know, real damage or whatnot, I'll let you know that. But it's always good to just have your roof looked at. I'd say at least once a year. But if you're having storms or your roof's getting a little bit old, you can call anybody. But I always recommend sticking with somebody local or somebody that somebody else knows that has good reputation, because there's also bad contractors out there that are in it for the money and not to help people out. So yeah, that's a little bit about how we got started.
So, and I'll go into a little bit more detail without getting ridiculous. We did have another roofing guy, as you've heard us mention in other videos and other live streams. He was trying to get more money out of the insurance company, and so I asked him, Adam, to come over and take a look, and I had an insurance check. And I wanted to see if he could do the job within of what the insurance was willing to cover. And I don't mind disclosing that that check. It was $27,000 to have the roof done. That does not include the tarping. So the tarping bill is above and beyond that, and that still needs to be resolved. The guy that I had previously was just trying to get a little more money, and he wanted to, you know, string it out. Well, the temperatures here are warm, but we were in a cold spell, and we're going to get cold again. And the longer you string it out, the closer to winter we're going to get. And so I had concerns about this tarp because it was already starting to fray. Some of the boards were falling off. The tape was falling off. And so I was like, man, we need to get a roof on this thing, especially before we leave for the wintertime. So I did call him. I was like, hey, here are the numbers. What can you do for me? And he's like, I think we can do this within your numbers. I think we can get it done. And I was like, let's do it. So I just decided to pull the string and do it and get it done. And I'm very happy I did. I'm happy with the results so far. And
Yeah, and the numbers, the numbers were, I'll just put it this, they were plenty. I'm not real sure if the other roof was the other company was saying they were going to put on was made out of some metal found in some strange island off the coast of Europe or something. But the insurance typically, there are times where insurance doesn't cover a certain material, it doesn't pay enough, but most of the time, whatever your insurance pays you, as long as it's a full complete project, where insurance kind of isn't as good as whenever it's smaller stuff. But as long as it's a full complete project, 9 out of 10 times, what insurance gives, I'm able to work with. Of course, we all work to make money and put food on the table, but at the end of the day, like, you're at a time of need, and I'm able to help you with what they're giving you. I'm not just trying to make money and then run away. So that's why we try to keep it local. We do work all over Middle Tennessee, up into Murfreesboro. We've done some roofs in Nashville, down into Chattanooga. We've done some Huntsville area, Fayetteville. So we do go outside, but most of our business is in and around the Winchester, Estill Springs, Tullahoma area. And honestly, that's how we like it. We like to keep close connections with our customers, just like this. I don't know if the other roofer was stood in a video with you and hung out like this. So, but that's what we try to strive to be is to help you, but also to be a friend, and more than just a roof, just relationships.
another feeling with the previous guy too was I needed him. The insurance company would reach out to him, and he wouldn't respond right away. So if I'd have to reach out to him, and then he would respond, but it would be like late in the day, and he knows the office is closed. So I don't know if that's a game that they play. Oh, I reached out to him. I tried to call him. No, you need to actually call him. You need to actually get this done. You need to actually handshake and get an agreement and sign it. So I wasn't getting a good follow through, and just because he's located so far away, I just thought, what happens if I have problems? How hard is it going to be to get him to come out here and fix it? This guy's local. He's faith-based. I like that too. That's important. So I had a good vibe and a good feel, and talking to Therese, you know how she is with that, and we just feel like that we were a better match. That's all. I'm not condemning him. He may have done a great job. He may have done the same job. I have no idea. The main thing was we didn't know when he was going to do it. So he made a promise to get a roof on the house in a couple of weeks, and he did it. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and roofs are not a fun thing to buy, pay for. They're probably one of the most expensive portions of your house that most people have to touch. And the other thing that's crazy about them is that you can spend $27,000 and in 2 days the job is done. To where typically anything else on the house that costs that much, is an ongoing project, bathroom remodel, stuff like that. And so that's why it's important to find somebody that you can trust and know is going to do what they're saying they're going to do, because it's very easy to put this roof on and then head on to the next house and say, see you later, and never, because the roof is the most expensive, but it's also the most important part of your house, because it's what's covering everything else. And so that's why trusting a company that's actually going to stand by their word and their work is super important, because if something goes wrong here and homeowner just spent $27,000, of course the insurance is paying for a majority of that, but nobody's going to be happy whenever they just spent that much money and they can't even get in touch with the guy. So if you had a guy knock on your door and you can't even get in touch with him after he knocked on your door, then don't expect him to answer the call whenever one of your screws is backed out or one of your shingles has fallen off. So there's a lot that goes into picking a contractor, and my biggest thing that I always say to people, especially when people are paying retail, not going through insurance, is don't pick what you want to work with, pick who you want to work with, because that's going to be way more important in the long term, because we can all adjust our prices and we can all adjust the types of materials we're using. There's high-end screws, there's low-end screws, there's synthetic felt paper, then there's just regular paper. So most roofers are not all presenting you the same product, and so prices sometimes are all over the place. I've seen people get bids at 40 grand and some people get bids at 10 grand, and the homeowner goes, what in the world is the difference? Well, there's tons of differences that can go in. There's some people that are just money hungry, but then there's also people that put the best products in there first, and so maybe that's why their price is higher. So I always just say, if you're getting bids or whatever, that's totally normal practice, but just choose the contractor that you want to work with, And then at the end of the day, if there's something that in the bid that you don't like or that doesn't work for you, you call that contractor and be like, hey, Mr. Contractor, like I do really want to work with you and I enjoyed, meeting you and all that stuff, but Bill's Roofing down the street said that they would put nicer screws in at the same cost. And I'm telling you, 99.9% of the time, my answer is going to be like, well, duh, I'll do that for you. I just, I didn't know if that was something that you wanted. Or, Bill's Roofing is $500 less. I'll be honest, there's a lot more margin than that in roofs. So 9 times out of 10, your roofer will be willing to work with you. But definitely choose the person that you want to work with, not the price, not the material. Choose the person you want to work with, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the biggest thing. And a little secret is that a lot of roofers that are doing roofing, like the guys that are like actually on the roof, they're probably working for both companies that are giving you 2 different prices. So that's why it's even more important to choose the company that you want to work with. So.
Yeah, and we're also getting a couple of things fixed on this roof that were written up on the inspector's report. He said the fasteners needed to be replaced at some point, and then both of these pipes were missing boots. So we're getting both of those things fixed at the same time.
Yeah, so we'll end up with a better roof anyway.
Yeah, we end up with a better roof. We went with the same color because we wanted to match the garage. So we didn't want to go, if you go changing this color, then you got to change that color. It gets expensive. So yeah, that's really it. That's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. If you have any questions about anything I said or want me to come take a look at your place, I'll let them put my number down in the little description box, and feel free to contact me.
Yeah. So we are in the Tullahoma, Estill Springs, Winchester area is where we're at. So
yeah, I won't roof your house if you live in Montana. But I'll still answer your questions if you'd like to ask.
And that's it.
Okay.
Okay, we're about to wrap this thing up. The roof is about done, but we discovered one screw is missing. So,
Oh my god.
Mission impossible. Dun, 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 dun.
Play that music.
Let's go, let's go.
The fact that I don't know what they're saying is funny. That's what makes it funny. There's one screw missing.
Yes.
It's a human ladder.
Cuñado, ya se falta al lado también. Allá no se eche, no lo va a ver, no tiene lado.
Coming down.
Cuñado, le hizo falta al lado también.
Cállese, no hable la verga.
Ándale, ándale.
Mamá, yo solo se ríe.
You check the other side.
¿Quién lo va a bajar? Yo lo bajo, pare.
We go check the other side now.
See if there's more fun.
So there's 10 screws all the way up, and they're about 1 foot apart all the way across. So there is a ton of screws up there. There's probably 2,000 screws or something ridiculous. I don't actually see any missing on this side.
That's good.
I'm surprised I saw that one. I'm like, oh my gosh, there really is one way up there. Because
thought you were joking.
I was kidding at first, and then I saw it. And I'm like, oh my God, there's really one up there.
Oh my goodness.
But the edge trim looks really nice.
It looks so
They
good.
did a really good job.
It looks so
Right here, they didn't just cut it square. They cut the angle to fit around the gutter. That's really nice. Good attention to detail, and they redid the whole framing around the chimney, and they painted the chimney where it was missing some spots.
good.
The framing was painted and everything. They did a really good job. I'm very happy with it. We're looking at screws here, and they don't want to look at the roof. They're like, we're out of here.
It looks so good.
Well, good morning to you.
Good morning. It's beautiful.
And this is day 3 of the roof project, but they're gone. They finished in 2 days, but
They're done.
we wanted to do this wrap-up video and tell everybody and show everybody what they did. And so this is the 3rd day, but this is us putting it all together.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that it has been 3.5 months, give or take a few days, since the date of the claim to it being done. And I'm so glad, I feel so blessed that Adam and Elite Restoration were able to do the job, because the first person was in battle back and forth with the insurance company, and I didn't think they'd ever reach any kind of agreement on anything. So I didn't think anything was ever going to happen. And I was just like, if this is what it's going to take to try to get this person to do the job before ever receiving any money, what's going to happen if we have a problem down the road? So I just feel so blessed that Adam is with the company Elite Restoration, and they're local. So if we have a problem, it's going to be no problem to get them out here. And it just made me feel so reassured that they took the time and care to be here, making sure everything was going right. And I was so super impressed by the group of guys doing the job. They were very happy all throughout the process, laughing and just enjoying their job and doing a good job. But at the end of the job, they actually were all examining the roof to count the screws to make sure everything was done correctly, just to, they were all out here looking and checking their job. And you don't see that very often anymore, that people step back and check their work.
Right.
So I was impressed by that too, and they were just super happy group. I am so glad they're the ones who did the job. They stepped up when the other person couldn't come through and do what was needed. So and neighbors were stopping by to check it out. The FedEx guys stopped and said, hey, y'all are finally getting your roof done. Like,
Right.
How long has it been when everybody is like, are these people ever getting anything done? The tarps are falling apart and no more blue tarp.
Yay.
It just looks amazing. I thought they did a super good job. And again, I just feel blessed.
Yeah.
So
I'm real impressed with the work they did and the craftsmanship, and just and they even took the time. Adam would take the time and explain what they're doing and what that piece does for your roof and why you didn't have it and now you have it. Yeah, it was really interesting. So I learned a lot about doing roofs.
yeah, it was like a next level of care that you get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the price of things aren't always the bigger factor. It's the care, the relationships, you got to factor all those things in.
Yep. And a roof is like one of your biggest investments. It's protecting the entire property of the house and all its contents.
Yes.
So it's a very important and a very big expenditure, but it's an investment.
Yes, it is. And I have to say too that they did pieces and parts that were like an upgrade from what was done by the last people who did the roof, who left pieces out. Like, I was surprised, because what do I know about a roof? I didn't know these different things need to be done, and just the level of care and the paying attention to all the detail is super impressive.
Yeah, so the last roof,
Take it away.
I've pointed this out before. These 2 boots were missing, so now those boots are on there. I want to point out, this is something I never knew too, something I learned, and I think I've mentioned this before, but these side pieces, I call them end caps. They have another name for them, but this is what keeps the wind from being able to blow in here and lift this roof off, and that's what caused the damage. That was on the other side, it wasn't on this side, but I can reach this one, so I'm pointing it out to you. This piece right here was totally not on the old roof, and the same thing on this. It didn't have one either. So now it has one. It looks much better. Not only does it look better, but it has a purpose. And if you come in here, this back porch used to always be really hot. When the sun would hit it in the afternoon, you couldn't really sit out here. That's because it had no insulation. it was just the sheet metal, and it takes that heat and it just pushes it down on you. Now this is an insulation barrier. So this is what they use to put underneath the metal roof. The roof has it too. The main roof has it too. So now it'll be much more comfortable to sit out here, and we'll spend more time out here, because I really think this is one of the best places in the house, is to sit out here on this porch.
I think so too. I love it.
Because the sun sets on the front of the house, so this backside is always shaded.
And you get this beautiful view of nature.
Yep, you get a beautiful view. The sun rises over the lake, so you can see this is in the morning, so the sun is coming up over the lake, and then it comes over the house, and it ends up in the afternoon when it's the hottest. It ends up on the other side of the house. So this ends up being a very nice place to sit. This is where Therese does a lot of her editing of videos. Up here in the porch, sometimes we have a lot of chairs in here. We have a lot of extra chairs. So this is the one that swivels and we hang out. And then we got a couple of recliners I've been known to fall asleep in. And then the ones here in the middle with the table, we'll come out and eat our lunch or breakfast out here. And it's just set up nice. Sometimes you just want to sit in a swing. There's a fan up there if you need it. And then we got our little grill here. And there's still a lot of space. So, and it's all screened in. So we really like the layout of the house. It's a small house, but it's functional, and it's, I don't know, we just love it. And now that it has a new roof, it looks amazing. Let's go look at the good work that they did around the chimney, shall we?
I know, driving up here, it's not like the dreaded look where you're like, oh. I actually quit looking at the house as we drove up because it was so depressing.
Yeah. I mean, it really makes such a big difference.
I think when you drive up to your house, you should be feeling a sense of peace and happiness.
And I did a lot of the painting here while I had their ladders, because they had some big ladders, but it got really hot, and there's a couple of spots I still need to kind of touch up.
I also want to comment on how well they picked up after themselves.
They did.
And everything was so clean. They took a lot of care running magnets over several times.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up all their trash, and if anybody knows, when people do jobs, often you'll see materials left, trash left. They were phenomenal in picking up all their stuff.
Yep, they really were.
So, I mean, I can't be any more complimentive or happy about the crew and the job they did.
Yeah. Once again, this is the part of the roof that actually got damaged. The wind came in from this direction and got under the roof and lifted it, and then once it lifted it, it just peeled it back like a tin can. But these edge covers here is what's going to keep that from happening in the future. It's been hot the last couple of days. Just kind of waiting for that. So here, I'm going to zoom in on what they did here around the chimney, because they put in some extra corner pieces and some extra, which the other roof didn't have. All they did was caulk it up. Here they layered it, and they put in some extra wood and some extra wood pieces, and they also painted it. So not only did they do a better job of framing the roof against the fireplace, against the chimney, but they also, I handed them the bucket of paint, and they touched up some spots that I couldn't reach. I didn't have a ladder tall enough, and this ground is not level for a ladder. So they even did that, and they put in some extra wood pieces and tore some off and replaced them and painted them. So I think they did a great job. They went above and beyond what a roofer would do, because they don't do painting. But he said he would take care of it. So that was amazing. And they did the same thing on the other side here. And I'm just really impressed with the workmanship, the attention to detail, and I couldn't be happier. We still...
I mean, this is how long the blue tarps were on our roof, that we have shredded pieces of blue tarp all over our lawn. they were literally coming apart. And if we would have had another big storm, our roof would have been completely
Compromised
yeah.
again.
I mean, as it was shredding, surely we would have had leaks again. So again, super glad that Elite Restoration was able to get here and get it done as fast as they did once we set up with them.
Yep.
It was basically like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. So great job. Thanks to those guys, and his crew was amazing too. They were fun to work with.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend them to anybody in the area who wants a good job done.
Absolutely. Anyway, love our new roof.
Yes, thank you.